Hi, welcome back to Real Talk with Sarasota's luxury waterfront specialist, Roger Pettingell. Good morning, Roger.
Good morning. Poolside at Queens Harbour.
And we are one of our favorite communities.
We do I do feel like I should be in a floatie with a little drink with an umbrella.
Absolutely.
Though.
Where are the drinks, Detlev? You know, we are always trying to make our process, tweak it, make it easier, smoother.
Right. We like a machine.
We
like
do.
A well-oiled machine.
For ourselves and for our sellers. And I thought we'd talk a little bit, we've talked about repairs before, but specifically repair limits and really what that means.
Right. I mean, I think people think about real estate about either buying or selling a house and the kind of the fun of going through it or the seller getting their house ready. And that's all fun, and that's, you know, maybe half of it. But the other half comes once that contract is signed and, you know, that contract to closing period we talk about.
Right.
So it a little bit when you talk about repair limits, you know, without being too boring, we have two basic kind of contracts. And one is what we call an as-is contract, and one is what we call a repair limit contract. So as is kind of like it implies, you know, I'm going to take this house, I'm going to have it inspected within a typical 10 to 15 day period. The contract specifically says you will accept it as it is, but it also gives that person the option of getting out of the contract for any reason whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So the reality of what as is. So if you come in and, you know, my house looks beautiful and you bid a certain amount based on it being beautiful, and when you read my disclosures you said everything works. And when you do a home inspection and the stove doesn't work, well, is it really fair to you to have to take it as is at that same price, not having known that the stove didn't work? So a seller in that case could say, not fixing it, said as is. Buyer could say, not buying it.
Right.
And then what do we have to do? We have to fix the stove anyway, because we can't go out and sell a house with a broken stove.
Right.
So as a matter of course, how that works is it's kind of like a free look for somebody for 15 days. It does give that option of as is. Maybe if it's a tear down house or something, that might make sense. But what we, you know, it depends, but a lot of times we like the idea of this repair limit contract. And so what that does is it says, I'm going to buy your house, and in our contract you have the option of 0 to 1.5% as a standard repair limit. And what that means is that the seller will agree to make repairs to warranted items, and those are clearly called out in the contract, at anywhere between 0 and 1.5% of the purchase price. So when you sign that contract, you get past any kind of contingencies you could have for financing or for homeowners association acceptance or anything like that. You know you have a solid deal because you're going to have the house inspected. If it falls within that range that you agreed upon, you're agreeing to fix those things up to that limit, and you're done. Okay, so what happens if you have a $5,000 repair limit and it turns out the inspection items are $6,000? Well, you could say, I only agreed to $5,000. You know, one of the parts of that is you have to quantify that in that repair limit time. You can't be going through the repair items and then suddenly find out the pool heater's $5,000, right? So you're going to, in that time, you're going to kind of say, well, these are things on the inspection report. They're going to cost this much money, and I'm going to fix them. Now, if it turns out this much money is more money than the repair limit, so in that example, $6,000 instead of $5,000, you can say to that buyer, I agreed to fix up to $5,000. I'll give you a credit for that, or I'll fix them. And equally, the buyer can say, if you don't fix what's over that amount, I'm not going to buy your house. So there's leverage always, thanks a lot. There's leverage always on both sides. You need to look at the whole package, but you really need to get into understanding what you're agreeing to.
Right.
And that is something that we, you know, constantly try to explain and make it clear. As you can hear, it is a very long story.
It is, but a very important discussion to have with our sellers.
Right. Which a lot of times we try to talk about that during the listing.
Right.
So you know what's coming, but nobody really pays enough attention to that then. It's only when you really have that contract in front of you.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, if stuff's wrong with the house, fix it ahead of time. Do a home inspection ahead of time if you can. That's a great idea to get any of those problems out of your way. And, you know, make a nice clean transaction for both sides.
Yeah.
And if you're a buyer also, you know, be fair. You're not buying a brand new house.
Right.
We're not selling new construction for the most part. We're selling resale houses. So, you know, if an air conditioner is 10 years old and it's cooling, you know, you got nothing. That's what you were selling.
Yeah. So we're here to make the process as easy for everybody, buyers, sellers. So if we can help with any of that, please be sure to visit us at longboatrealestate.com or call us at 941-387-1840. Thanks so much for joining us on Real Talk.